The buzzer beaters, the crowd, the Cinderellas. College basketball is a beautiful game filled with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The start of every season brings a fresh start for every team and every player. A chance for teams to fold under the burden of their expectations. A chance for teams to receive redemption for a previous season that was cut shorter than they had hoped. And of course, a chance for teams and players expected to do nothing to shock the world. This channel will be dedicated to discussing and analyzing all that goes on in the college basketball world. Welcome to the CBB Report. With the season still in its opening stages, let's go through each conference and rank the teams. Today, let's do our too early 2022-2023 rankings for one of the deepest conferences in college basketball, the ACC. While I love ranking teams, I do not believe it provides a clear picture of the competition levels between teams. The differences between a team I rank 7 and a team I rank 8 can be extremely marginal, and both teams can probably flip-flop on my rankings. The same things go for 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and etc. etc. That is why I have created a tier list to show off different levels of competition. In the ACC, I have created 5 tiers, the 5th being the lowest, and the 1st being the highest. Today, let's rank Tier 4, which I've named Intrigue. The best way to describe the 3 teams in Tier 4 is intriguing, hence the title. These 3 teams won't be too good, but they have enough talent or good coaching to be intriguing teams in the ACC. Expect these teams to not win a lot of games, but pull off a few upsets. While other ACC teams should not necessarily be scared of these 3 teams, they should be much wary of them compared to the teams in Tier 5. These 3 teams have an inkling of potential. The worst team in Tier 4 and the 12th best team in the ACC is Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons lost a lot this offseason. Both Alondes Williams and Jake LaRavia left Wake Forest to enter the draft. LaRavia was even picked with the 19th pick of the draft. While talent-wise, the Demon Deacons are way worse off than last year, they can take comfort knowing that the talented head coach Steve Forbes is back for a 3rd year. He honestly might be one of the most underrated coaches in all of college basketball. Another nugget of optimism, it wasn't like LaRavia and Williams were supposed to be NBA draft level players at the start of last year. They became them over the course of last year thanks to the development from Forbes. Forbes' recruiting class was a bit underwhelming, but he had a strong transfer class. Forbes recruited 4-star power forward Zach Keller and high 3-star power forward Bobby Clintman. In the transfer portal, Forbes secured point guard Tyler Appleby from Florida, small forward Andrew Carr from Delaware, power forward Davion Bradford from Kansas State, and point guard Jao Tuca from Marist. So far, Wake Forest has mostly proven me wrong, starting the season 7-2. They did get upset by LMU and lost pretty badly to Clemson, but they also upset Wisconsin by 3 and handled Georgia by 10. The starting 5 leading Wake Forest this year, so far at least, is Tyree Appleby, Davion Williamson, Lucas Taylor, Andrew Carr, and Davion Bradford. Appleby is a pretty good floor general. He can also score pretty well. But the question he will have to answer for this season is, can he start scoring more efficiently? Because he was not too efficient in Florida. So far, the answer has been yes. Regardless, he was an underrated transfer get for Forbes. Carr is also an underrated transfer in the starting lineup. He is going to face much tougher competition than he did in Delaware, but he can also be a solid piece for this team. Forbes has assembled a very good 3-point shooting team as well, which is going to help them pull off some upsets. The Demon Deacons have an interesting bench too. Zach Keller, Bobby Clintman, Jao Tuca, Cameron Hildreth, Robert Cray, Damari Monsato, and Matthew Marsh should all feature in some various roles, with the rotation shortening by late December. Keller was Forbes' biggest recruiting get this year and should feature in some rotations in the front court. Tuca is a very intriguing pickup as well. He was the MAC Rookie of the Year last year, and though it might take him a bit to adjust to ACC play, I expect him to be a key cog in the bench by year's end. Looking at some of his film, I think he can maybe even crack the starting lineup by the end of the year. Monsato and Marsh are also solid bench pieces that I thought could start. At the end of the day though, Forbes did not get anyone near the caliber of Williams and LaRavia, so while they have some interesting pieces, unless Forbes can develop another 2 stars from out of nowhere, I expect a down season from Wake Forest and Steve Forbes. I expect them to go 6-14 and 12th in the ACC. The 11th best team in the ACC and in the middle of Tier 4 intrigue is Pittsburgh. Jeff Capel III originally had a strong recruiting and transfer class this season, and the prize of this class was originally high 4-star point guard recruit Dior Johnson, but he probably won't play this year after being charged with felony assault. The rest of the recruiting class is power forward Guillermo Diaz, power forward Jorge Diaz, and power forward Fede Federico from JUCO. From the transfer portal, Capel got shooting guard Greg Elliott from Marquette, small forward Blake Hinson from Iowa State, and point guard Nelly Cummings from Colgate. Though the transfer class was strong, there are very real questions to be asked about how good Jeff Capel is actually as a coach. He's one of the highest paid coaches, but I remain unconvinced if he can actually coach well from the sidelines. The Panthers have had pretty good start to the season, going 6-3, with center John Hughley missing the first 2 games. Speaking of Hughley, the offense should be improved due to his progression this year, and he has a chance to be a star for the Panthers. Surrounding Hughley will most likely be Nelly Cummings, Nike Sabande, Jamarius Burton, Blake Hinson, and of course at center, John Hughley. Cummings and Hughley can make a pretty dynamic duo, especially in the pick and roll, but the rest of the starting 5 are most likely just going to be okay. The bench is pretty deep but not super talented. Fede Federico was the starting center in Hughley's absence, and now will back him up. A combination of Greg Elliott, Cassius McNeely, Diaz Graham, Guillermo Diaz, and Nate Santos will make up the rest of the bench. Despite the slow start, Cummings and especially Hughley can drag this team to a 6-14 record in the ACC, and it is not like the rest of the starters in the bench is bad. Just a little uninspiring. 6 wins should get them to be the 11th best team in the ACC and put Capo firmly on the hot seat. The best team in Tier 4 and the 10th best team in the ACC is Boston College. Boston College is a very interesting team this year, and I think a little underrated. They have started 5-4, which makes me a little nervous, especially with being upset badly by Maine of all teams and Tarleton State. They definitely had games where you ask yourself what they're doing on the floor. That said, I don't want to overreact over 9 games. I'm sticking with my narrative that this team will figure it out and is a bit underrated. This is because the Eagles follow my favorite rule: continuity. Boston College fans were surprised last year when they hired head coach Earl Grant, but he surprised many by taking what many considered the worst talented squad in the ACC and having them win 6 games in the ACC. Now 4 starters return for the Eagles, and their development, plus the new additions, should propel this team slightly higher. Boston College played so many close games last year, so while one could argue they got lucky winning 6 games, you could conversely argue that they could have stolen 1 or 2 more games. They are still rebuilding, but in the modern college basketball world, continuity is king. Head coach Earl Grant had a big recruiting class, headlined by 4-star power forward recruit Prince Alibe, who already hit a game winner against Cornell in his young college career. Joining Alibe is 4-star combo guard Donald Hand, 3-star shooting guard Chaz Kelly, and center Armani Mighty. Alibe and Hand were great pickups for Grant. Grant also picked up combo guard Mason Madsen from Cincinnati from the transfer portal. The starting 5 has been rotated early in the season, but it will most likely be Makai Ashton Langford, Jaden Zachary, DeMar Langford, CJ Pena Jr., and TJ Bickerstaff, with lots of rotations coming in from the deep and somewhat talented bench. Ashton Langford and Zachary make up a very strong backcourt. The question lies in a somewhat weak frontcourt, with Bickerstaff and Pena Jr., and how they can play against the bigs in the ACC. Alibe will be coming off the bench in key minutes as somewhat of a 6th-man role. The freshman Donald Hand Jr. should also get some key minutes. Mason Madsen, Chaz Kelly, Armani Mighty, Devin McLaughlin, and Quinton Post will round out the rest of the bench, and Madsen has even started a few games. Boston College is a deep team, which can be a positive, but also has a chance to be a negative if Grant cannot find a stable starting 5. Though the way I look at it, this is a team that won 6 games in the ACC and should get slightly better in another year under Grant's system. And through natural progression, as well as with the addition of Alibe, despite the slow first 9 games, I do believe in Grant and the talent in this team. Because of this, I see Boston College going 7-13 in the ACC. That would make them 10th in the ACC and the best team in Tier 4, with a small chance of breaking into the bottom of Tier 3. That is my ACC Tier 4 intrigue, rankings, and breakdown. Let me know if you agree or not in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. Also let me know in the comments some video ideas for the rest of the college basketball season. Follow the TikTok, the CBB Report. Subscribe, like, and comment with your thoughts. Where was I right? Where do you think I went wrong? Let me know down below, and thanks so much for watching.